How are you going? So in this live session, mainly I'm going to mention about the ugly fact behind economic gap. Ugly fact about economic gap. As well, I'm going to share about certain things which I have written that how it affects the cost of living and in-depth information about the economic gap and how it affects the cost of living and how it worsens the quality of living and its devastating consequences and what and all the strategies to consider to overcome the economic gap. So stay tuned, that will be awesome. Great. Welcome to Pioneer Prosperity Movement. So here I am, Maddie, in front of you. We help parents and families who are determined to achieve quality of life and freedom of life and to create the organic holistic health and wealth. I mean generational wealth towards living the freedom of life, and only we help and mentor only if it is their top priority. So awesome. So as I said in this today's live session, it's a kind of a mixed up with the board session, as you can see there, as well as I'm going to deliver some of the incredible values to you guys about the ugly fact about economic gap. This is the second, I think this is the third session which relates to the economic gap. Over and over, again and again, I'm bringing this in front of you for you to make you aware. Because most of the people are not aware, or even if they are aware, they don't see the consequences of it in a long run, followed by the lack of vision, followed by the lack of clarity, followed by the lack of problem awareness. So they don't see the long-term consequence of this economic gap. They do see for a 1 year, but they don't see what's going to happen in case of 5 years or after 10 years. Since they don't have the clarity, that is why I found out that when I talk to many people across the globe, I found out there is a big gap between what they know and what they don't know. There's a big gap between what the measures they are taking at the moment and what are the consequences if they keep on doing the same thing. There's a big gap between that. That is why I'm taking my whole responsibility to bring it to you in front of you guys about the economic gap. So as I mentioned to you in the previous in my previous session as well, in the board session, the same thing, but at the same time I'm going to give you so many other values as well. As it means that if you're watching live, mention as hashtag live so that you can help with the algorithm, and as well as if you're watching replay, hashtag replay, or if you have any questions related to this, feel free to pop it in the comments, or you can message me. We can discuss about it in furthermore in-depth detail about, because what I'm going to give you is a kind of a nuggets, small nuggets here and there, golden nuggets here and there, but in depth we can discuss in detail about it with regards to economic gap in person. All right, so let's dive in. What is this economic gap? You know about economy, so not to talk about, but what is this economic gap? Gap, it's a space, it's a kind of difference, right? So it means, say for example, if you're getting a salary, some sort of salary, on average salary, and on an average a decent income in the case of Australia, it is on average is around 60k to 70k per year. If you say for example, on an average, okay, it ranges from person to person, it ranges from profession to profession, it ranges from job to job. So if a decent income is around 62k per annum, and if you remain in the job, if you be in the job, or if you move from one job to other job, year after year, a person might get a maximum of, all around the globe, a person will get a maximum of 2% increment, right? From one year to the next year, because we are at the end of the year in not financial year in Australia. Probably in US it is a financial year, in Australia it is June to June. July to June, right? So at the end of after the next year, it means sorry, what I'm confusing here. So when you go for the next year, at the end of the completion of the year, when you go for the next year, there will be a 2% maximum of 2% increment in your income, in your salary, in your job, right? Based on the level of your job, based on what sort of your profession you are in, there could be a maximum of 2% increment all around the globe in your job for the income that you're getting, right? That's fine. That's absolutely fine if you see only in terms of, in perspectives of the income alone. Whereas, if you look at the first diagram, in 1 year time, is it right? In 1 year time, 2% increment in your salary. This small one denotes the salary, your income, right? Whereas this bar, the second bar, that denotes the price hike of different things, whatever the things you are utilizing, you're using on a basic expenses or on a basic day-to-day life, like the fuel, or in terms of fuel or any utilities like gas and electricity, or your groceries or any sort of eatables or anything you are using in your day-to-day life. Without your fuel, can we live? No, right? Without the utilities like gas and electricity, can we live? No, right? So in that case, thinking about the price hike of those utilities, thinking about the price hike of any kind of day-to-day things that we use on a yearly basis, on an average, there's a price hike of up to 8%. 8%. So obviously you can see in 1 year time, your increment is up to, your salary increment is up to 2%. And at the same time, on the other side, the price hike of other things that you use, everyone use, including myself, right? The price hike for every year is an average, on an average, it's up to 8%. 8%. So in that case, you can see the economic gap there. So there is a 6% variation between your salary increment and the price hike of whatever we use on our day-to-day life. 6%. Guys, in 1 year, 6%. By means of, it's loud and clear. Thank you so much. All right. So my wife is on the other side and she is saying that loud and clear. Thank you so much for confirming it. But because at times, it will be like that, because recently we have been facing a little bit of technical issues related to the internet, and I have been calling them non-stop and they are fixing it, and tomorrow I have gotten another appointment too. So put it aside. So if it is loud and clear, that'll be great and awesome. All right, guys. So this is what the situation. As I said that in 1 year time, yes, of course, your income might be rising 2%. But what about the other price hikes? Is about 8%. It means there is a gap. In 1 year time itself, there is a gap of 6%. Why I'm bringing it forward again? The reason because year after year, because I was in a professional under the corporate, I was in a corporate professional healthcare job for the past 23 years in different countries across the globe. When I was working from year after year, of course, I'm getting an increment here and there. That too for the last 4.5 years, I wasn't getting much increment. That's fine. So put it aside. That's past is past. But what I felt in that is, yes, my salary is rising. But at the same time, what about my quality of life? Is my quality of life, my salary is rising. But at the same time, if only the salary is rising, what should happen? What must happen? Yes, I'm quite happy with the salary hike year after year. That's fine. But on the other side, in the practical life, is my quality of life is also enhancing? No. That's a big question, right? Your salary is rising, but not your quality of life. Why? What's happening there? What's the underneath truth behind it, the underneath fact behind that? What is actually the fact which is behind or blindfolded there? I was thinking about it for a long time. Year after year, I'm seeing that too, especially in the last 10 years. I was looking into that. Yeah, my salary is gradually increasing, that's fine. And based on the salary increment, eventually my quality of life should also increase, right? But on the other hand, what I'm doing is to meet the demands of life in different aspects of life. Previously, I used to work 38 hours per week. And when the salary is rising, eventually what should happen? I should able to decrease the number of hours of work, right? Maybe I need to go for a, probably instead of 38 hours, instead of full time, if the salary is hiking in the last 10 years, I should have gone for 30 hours per week, part time or something like that. But what's happening? What happened is, of course, definitely many of you can resonate with that. What happened in the past is when the salary is rising, but at the same time, year after year, year after year, year after year, I realized that instead of decreasing my number of hours of work to spend more time with the family, rather I increased my number of hours from 38 hours to 50 to 60 hours per week. Why? Did you ever ask this kind of question into you? Instead of flipping the number of hours, instead of decreasing, lowering the number of hours of work according to the increment hike, what's happening here is I ended up in increasing the number of hours of work instead of decreasing, instead of lowering. I ended up in increasing the number of hours of work to meet the different demands of life. Then I started asking me a question. Yes, my salary is getting rise, but why not the quality of life? Why I'm working more than before? If my salary is increasing, if it is right, if it is correct, yeah, then why I'm not living the quality of life? Why I am more and more working now? Instead of 38 hours, gradually my number of hours is getting more and more. Why? It means that I ended up in chasing behind money by selling my time. Why? To meet the demands of price hike of different products, different things, different things that we use in our day-to-day life, like fuel or gas, electricity, or any other groceries. We don't see that, guys. That is what happened. That is what the thing it is. We don't see the price hike. We never compare our increment hike with the price hike of other things. We just compare here and there. We always say that, oh my God, that there's an increase in price hike, the fuel price is going to the roof. Yes, of course. Can we stop that? No, we can't. People are ended up in focusing on what they can't control, end up in complaining in such a way why the fuel price is going more and more, and they ended up in posting such kind of that fuel price. You might have seen recently there are so many number of posts related to the fuel hike. It means fuel price hike, right? And there are so many number of posts related to the price hike of different products like gas, electricity, whatever it is. And the people ended up in more of victim mindset by complaining the different companies, different products, blah, 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 blah. But is it possible for us as a public, is it possible for us to change it? Rather, why can't we? That is what the question I asked myself, that if it is a price hike, if my salary is increasing only 2%, what is the problem? Then I went deep in it. Then I found out that the economic gap. Each year there is a economic gap of 6%. This is what is called as economic gap, guys. This is what's happening to me today. Is a flip of tongue. So each year there is 6% of economic gap between your salary increment and the price hike of different products that you use in a year. Have you ever thought about it? Yeah, okay, 1 year, that's fine. I can manage it. This 6%, what about in the next year? Yes, your salary might increase to another 2%, but the next year, the economic gap will be 12%. Doubles. Don't you think so? Yes. So, if you think in 1 or 2 years, it may not be okay, I can manage, that's fine, I can do maybe 2 full-time job. Yeah, okay, if you end up in doing so. Yes, I ended up in doing that kind of 1.5 times of the full-time job. Instead of 38 hours, I was doing 60 hours, 50 to 60 hours per week in 10 years time, gradually. You know the reason behind? That's what I'm going to show it to you. How it affects the cost of living of individual family. Year after year, in first year it is 6%, in the second year it becomes 12% because it doubles. Whereas after 5 years, think about it, after 5 years, how much will be the economic gap? Your salary hike could be 5 into 2, 10%. If they give it every year, because I didn't receive it actually every year, in fact, so that's fine. So 10% your salary hike could be, salary increment could be, but what about this price hike of other products that you use? Irrespective of whether your salary is rising or not, there will be certainly and definitely there will be a price hike of other products. And in 5 years time, this 6% exponentially, significantly becomes worse up to 30%. There is a 30% of economic gap in 5 years time. So what happens here? That is why in 1 or 2 years people don't realize it. They will manage here and there. As it goes on that way, and when people rely on one stream of income, or when people rely on 2 full-time job of income, but still year after year, in 2 years time, in 3 years time, by the end of the 3rd and 4th year time, before even they get into the 30% of the economic gap in 5 years time, they ended up in getting credit cards, they ended up in getting personal loans, they ended up in getting more and more debts. Or on the other hand, they think and act small. How? By means of living with what they have. And they end up in saying that I'm happy with what I have, I don't want too much money. They will block themselves and they fit in within the budgeted life. One thing I would like to say here, guys. Humans are not born here to live a budgeted life. Never and ever fit in. Never and ever underestimate yourself. Keep this in mind. We are not born here to live a budgeted life. We are here to live an abundance of life. Unless you give permission to the external factors by living a small life, then you end up in living the same sort of life. So in that case, before even the end of the 5th year, people end up in getting more debts, more personal loan, more credit cards. And think about in a long run, after 10 years time. In 10 years time, the economic gap will be 60%. That is why when they work more than 10 years or in the 10 years time, when we ask people, they end up in saying, I don't have money, I don't know where the money goes. Money is just coming and going. I couldn't even save the money. Yes, money is not to save. Money is not to be saved. Anyway, that's a different topic. We'll go for that later. So I couldn't able to generate any amount of money. I don't know where the money goes. Whatever the money comes, it's just going like that. And I don't have time. Why they don't have time? When you take me, instead of working for 38 hours, I ended up in working after 10 years, 50 to 60 hours. 50 to 60 hours in a week. Where do you get time then? Besides the sleeping time, where do you get time to spend with your family? Where do you get time to spend for yourself? Where do you get time for entertainment and all the other things which is necessary for our personal life? That is why most of them are forgetting about themselves. Most of them are not even getting time with their family, or most of them are even sacrificing their time and running towards pressure by looking into social media, doing for clubs and pubs because of the frustration, the stress, and the anxiety which develops inside them by the end of 10 years' time. Right? Because I felt all those things inside me. And I felt it like, what's happening here? Why I couldn't able to spend my time with my family? Am I not deserve that? And if it is going to go on that way, what will be that? What's going to be the answer for this? Is it going to get better? That's what the consequence of it. By just relying on one stream of income, or by just relying on 2 or 3 full-time jobs of income, even if you can be able to do that, guys, everyone has got same 24 hours. Unless you realize it, if you don't realize it, what ends up in happening? You end up in selling more of your time, more of your precious time for your job. And how much amount of time that you sell in your job, how much amount of work you do, even you can do so much of hard work you do, you'll be getting a capped income, and that also is taxed. And people end up in complaining. The tax department, they are charging more. Yes, the country has to run, right? People are working hard because you know why? They have been developed. They are actually quite strongly injected in such a way. If you want to live the best, you have to work hard in your job. That's what been told to them. You have to struggle. You have to work hard in your job. Then only you'll get a decent income. That's what even told to me. I believed it. But once after I started realizing all this, then I was asking, yeah, I'm working hard in my job, but still I couldn't able to live the life of what I'm after, even after 10 years, even after 20 years, even after 23 years. Then I questioned myself, is it going to get better? If I couldn't able to live the life of what I'm actually expecting, what my dreamful life is, I'm still living the sort of life even after 23 years of my professional healthcare job, so-called professional healthcare job. There's nothing wrong with the profession. But even after 23 years, I'm still living the life here, but not here. That's my target is. Where the problem is? Is it the problem in the money? No. Is it the problem in the anything else? No. The problem is in me. I found out that because if I'm determined to reach here, then where the change should come. I can't expect the salary should rise up to meet the demands of my cost of living. No, it's not possible. That's what the system is meant for. Got it? So in that way, if I need to change from this state to this state, if I'm required to change from here and move on to the dreamful life, then the change should come from me. Instead of just relying on 50 to 60 hours of work by selling my time, even though I'm working hard, what I must do? I need to change from me within myself. Then I changed. I started changing within me by knowing this kind of economic gap. Because if I don't make any change now, because in the past 23 years I didn't make any change. I was keep on working more and more and more and more and more and more and more. I was doing the same pattern of things, same sort of thing, expecting that things will change. Things will change externally. It didn't change. It didn't happen even after 23 years. Then I started realizing that it is not something external, because those things are not going to change unless I change. That's what the step I've taken. And moreover, if I don't make a change, what will be the consequences? That's what people should think. Because people always think in a short term. Year after year, year after year, year after year. They will always think in a short term. But you must see in a long term. What will be the consequences if you don't change now? In 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time. If I would have known this, say 20 years back, my life will be entirely different. I don't know about that. No school has taught me this. No university has taught me this. The university and the schools which I have studied have taught me to study well, get a good degree, get a good job, and go for what is that called as, not only increment, what is that called as promotion or something like that, and then get a good salary and live. It's not living, it's just surviving. Because how can you live with this kind of economic gap? Will it be possible to live? No, we end up in surviving, just chasing behind money, and we believe that money is the master for us. Yes, of course, we end up in living like that, but money is basically designed to serve the humans. But what's happening here, because of the economic gap which builds up significantly, we become the slave for the money. Don't you think so? That is what I realized after 23 years. But I started asking questions in the last 5 to 10 years time. And then once after realizing it, I changed. Because if I don't change now, from now after 5 years, from now after 10 years, what will be the consequences? Do you think that I can meet a demand of this 6% of 1 year to 60% in 10 years time? What will be my quality of life? What will be my quality of life next year? What will be my quality of life by 2027? What will be my quality of life by 2032? Do you think it is going to enhance or improve? No. It didn't happen in the last 23 years. I was fitting in. Most of you, right? Most of you can resonate to that, right? Isn't it so? So, that is what the thing it is. The reason, because if you don't understand the economic gap, and if you don't take necessary steps, and if you don't make a change within ourselves to understand and put on the strategies what is necessary, then it's not going to change. And one must understand that, as I said before, money is meant to serve the humans. It's a tool. Of course, I don't mean to say that money is not important. Money is absolutely important. I love money. I want more money. I'm after more money. But money stays only with the great mindset. I'm not saying that money is the only solution for everything, but money gives all the possible options to live the life with abundance. One must understand that. But I'm not saying money is the only problem here. Even if you have a surplus amount of money, if a person doesn't have the mindset, then money don't stay there. Because money has got an energy. One should have a proper mindset, not only to get rich, but also stay wealthy. Alright, that's a different topic, put it aside. So in that case, guys, understand this economic gap. What kind of strategies that you have in place? If you say that, yeah, that's why I'm working in 3 part-time jobs or 2 full-time jobs, if it is possible, all we got 24 hours, guys. Okay, that's fine. If you're working in 2 full-time job or 3 or 4 part-time job, can you still meet the demands in 5 years time or in 10 years time? What kind of strategies that you have? And how long you are going to sell your time in your job? Ask yourself this. How long you're going to do the same thing what you have done in the past 5 years or 10 years or 20 years and expecting a different result? Do you think it is going to happen? It's not going to happen. In my life, personally, in the past 23 years of corporate full-time professional healthcare job, it didn't happen. Do you think that in another 20 years it's going to happen? No. One thing you understand this. If a person is not achieving the financial freedom in 8 to 10 years of time, in whatever they do, financial freedom doesn't mean mortgage free or debt free. No, I'm talking about the real financial freedom. If the person don't achieve the financial freedom in 8 to 10 years of time, in whatever they do, it means that they fit in with what they have. They're living the small life. They're living the below average life. If you have the dream of thinking and acting big, living your life of abundance, living your life to the fullest, because that's what the humans are born for. But you are given permission to live small. But if you have a dream like me, if you have a big vision like me, then you must shatter the limited belief and bring the change from you. Use the strategies where don't be mastered by the money, but rather you master the money. It means that what I mean to say is, do not work for the money by selling your time. Rather, make the money to work for you by investing money to make more money. Got what I mean? Guys, understand the economic gap and bring the change from you. The change starts from you. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Alright? The change must start from you. The system is not going to change. Your increment, your salary is not going to change. Maybe 2% in every year. But if the change comes from you, from your mindset, your heart set, your gut set, and use the necessary opportunities which are available, open-mindedly accepting it, understanding that by selling your time, it is not going to change your life. Rather, you will be slaved, conditioned, and trapped in your life. By selling your time, it's not going to answer your life or your dream for life. It's not the right pathway. And if you haven't achieved that financial freedom in 8 to 10 years of life, 8 to 10 years in your job, it means that you are going in a wrong direction. Got it? And after 10 years, after 20 years, after 30 years, once after you realize, what's the point? Working until 60 years and after realizing, oh my God, whatever I've done is wrong. What's the point of regretting? Rather, the time is now. So if you have an opportunity in front of you, and if a person is talking about the vision, if a person is talking about the economic status and any kind of financial literacy, knowing what he knows or doing what he knows, or if the person is exponentially growing or progressing in whatever he or she is doing and living the life to the fullest and freedom of life, and if the person is progressing in such a way, surround yourself with that kind of person. That's what I did. That's what exactly I did. And by surrounding myself with those kind of people who are like optimistic and success minded people who are talking about money, embracing the uncertainty, embracing the unknown, and learn the necessary strategies. And by means of that, we are progressing, we are growing, which is very well possible. But at the same time, am I living a financial freedom of life? No, not yet. I'm just in the first few steps only, but I'm growing, I'm progressing. I'm getting fulfilled by helping other people who are having the same drive, same hunger, and living the life to the fullest. If you are such kind of person, we are here to help and mentor you, to guide you through our online business education program. But at the same time, that hunger and the drive should come from you. You should be ready for a change open-mindedly, because if you don't see the opportunity as it is, and if you see the opportunity as you are with a scared and the scarcity mindset, it's not going to help you at all. Then people end up in saying it's too good to believe it is true. Yes, because you are not seeing the opportunity as it is. You're seeing the opportunity as you are, based on your scared and the scarcity mindset, because your mindset says that there's not much enough left money, that there is not much enough money left. So save the money, live with what you have. This is my conditioned life. I'm quite happy with what I have. Too much money is not good. You're blocking there. If you block there, then it ends up in nowhere, guys. So if you see yourself that you deserve to live the life to the fullest. You deserve to live the dreamful life. And if you want to, if you desire to break away, get away from the life of what you have now, and if you're determined to reach here, then surround yourself with like optimistic and success minded people. That is where you end up in living the life of freedom, to life of fullest. So understand the economic gap. If you have any doubts or any kind of clarification, feel free to reach me. Let's discuss about it. That will be awesome. Live the life to the fullest, and do not expect significant change in your life by doing whatever you have done in the past. The change must come from you. Alright? Yes, the change must come from you. Live the life to the fullest. Let's all succeed together. Cheers. Bye bye. Make a difference in your life by 2023 from now on. Do not say that after January I'll do it. Then you end up in saying after January 2024 I'll do it. Whatever the change that you're thinking about, start from now. If you say later, later is nothing but never. Because future is an illusion. The only time which is available is now. Whatever the now, tomorrow is tomorrow. That's an illusion. Because time itself is an illusion. The time is now. If you say later, later is nothing but never. It end up in 2024. It ends up in 2025. It goes on such a way. You will be getting carried away. So if you think about a change, put it in action straight away. The only way that you can overcome the procrastination is taking action now. Take action now. So this is the strategy that I can tell you to help you to overcome the economic gap. Live the life to the fullest. Let's all succeed together. Bye then.